Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to Reconnect TV, my show all about reconnecting to yourself, to the universe, to everything really, so that you feel part of your own life, part of what's going on. Got some semblance of control. So I'm just going to wait for a minute while people get logged on, because we're here today to talk about how to protect yourself from negative energy. This comes up a lot in my coaching. It comes up a lot in my group coaching, my one-to-one work. And it's something that I see a lot affecting women in my Facebook group. So how do we protect ourselves from negative energy? Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Faye Semple and I am a spiritual and energy alchemist. I have many modalities that I use to help women reconnect to their soul and to use the energy of themselves and their environment to create the life and business of their dreams. I'm the CEO and founder of the Abundance Energy Academy and Soulful Spiritual Living. So protecting ourselves from negative energy is really, really important. And I'm going to share with you today just 2 simple tips on how to do that. So step 1 is really awareness. When you're aware that you're being impacted by negative energy, it's so much easier to actually do something about it. We can't do something about it if we're not aware of it. So think about how you're feeling and how that's impacting your day to day. Have you got up high vibe and feeling wonderful, or have you got up feeling less than enthusiastic? Do you feel like things are stacked against you? Do you feel like the people in your life aren't supporting you? Do you feel like, you're having to listen to friends or negative Nancy's go on and on about how terrible things are? You're listening to the news and it might be all doom and gloom, though there is light at the end of the tunnel now with regard to COVID. But, how are you actually feeling, and being aware that, what's happening in your life is the mirror of the things that you need to be dealing with. So many things come up in our life, and when we deal with those, when we're aware of it, it's much easier to deal with them. So awareness is crucial. So, we need to be aware we're becoming a sponge really to other people's feelings, that we're always the one that are mopping up, that we have energy vampires turning around and pouring out their woes all to us and we absorb it. We can be too empathic sometimes. So how do we deal with it? How do we deal with that? Do you know what? I'm overwhelmed. I'm swamped. I can't cope with it. Well, step 2 is really resolve. It's being resolved to do something about it. So what do we do? Well, ultimately, we have to take responsibility. If you're allowing your negative friends to come round and pour out all their woes across the kitchen table, and you're allowing them to expect you to be the one that mops up and offers sympathetic voices and words of advice. I mean, don't get me wrong, we always want to help our friends, and we're there to serve other people. Ultimately, that's what our life mission is all about. But we still have to have clear boundaries about when it's okay for us to give support, how much support we want to give that feels right to us at the time, that doesn't drain us. So we are responsible ultimately for everything that happens in our life, absolutely everything. Waking up to that is a bit of a wake-up call. So when things are going right, we're very quick to go, oh, I've done this and I've achieved this, or we put it down to luck. And when things are going wrong, we tend to put the blame out there. Oh, there's nothing I could do about it. I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what's going on. Or we blame it on bad luck. But ultimately, everything that happens in our life, we are responsible for. And, I've been there as well. I've made some horrendous mistakes and put up with some terrible treatment in the past because I just thought it was something that I ought to do or I should do. So, there's loads of things that can drag us down. I hear people in my group, might say, my husband isn't very supportive, or my kids are driving me insane. All those things are happening at the moment. These lists can be endless, really, really endless when we go into it. But we have to realise that every time we blame somebody else blame somebody else's responses and reactions, if you like, to if we blame us, try again, I'll get my words out in a minute. If we blame somebody's responses, reactions and inactions, or whatever they're doing, if we blame what they're doing on our mood, we disempower ourselves, because we have ultimate power. So every time we disempower ourselves, we chip away our confidence that tells us that we can't achieve anything. We'll never amount to anything. We're just there to mop up after other people. And all of a sudden we find ourselves at the mercy of those circumstances, other people's whims, or the market condition in your business. You know, and I have absolutely been there. You know, I spent 12 years in an incredibly abusive marriage. And, you know, I was at the mercy of his moods and his violence all the time. But it's because I had no boundaries, and I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and I didn't know how to extricate myself from that marriage. So when we blame other people, we stop being the creator of our own destiny, and we start waiting for signs or permissions or something from the divine to come down to us to help us think, feel and act in a certain way. But it's actually already within their control. So the answer to the question is, how do you protect yourself from other people's negativity, is really a simple one. You take responsibility for everything you say, feel and do. You take responsibility for every decision that you've made. If you're in a negative relationship, you made the decision to enter that. You're also making the decision not to have a conversation about it, or not to exit that relationship. Those decisions are yours. There is always a choice. Yes, those choices may be difficult, they may be painful, they may involve transition, but there's always a choice. And to say that there isn't one is to disempower yourself. So when someone, you know, approaches you with the weight of the world on their shoulders, their negative stories, their anger, their resentment, their frustration, you have a choice about how you respond. You have a choice about whether you're going to soak it up, whether you make their story part of your life, or whether you get sucked into the drama or not. You can make a choice to say, I'd really like to help you with this, but I can't help you now. Let's schedule something in my diary, and then we'll sit down and we'll be constructive about it. Well, you can handle things in a completely different way. We always have a choice. The only thing you control in life is you. Everything else is beyond your control. So think about it. Where have you been passing the buck? Where can you take your power back? Where do you need to set limits and boundaries? Who do you want to be to achieve the life that you want? Set that intention and, you know, stick to it. Take responsibility for your own life. So those are my two strategies really for dealing with negative energy. Be aware when you're doing it and resolve to do something about it. So I hope you've enjoyed today. That was Reconnect. I'll see you next Thursday. If you want to get more in-depth stuff all about energy and soul work, the debrief for business, the energy in your environment, all sorts of things that make up this wonderful smorgasbord of life and what you can do about it, you can hop over to my group, my free community, Divine Feminine CEOs, where you'll get so much help and support to help you create the life and business of your dreams, to really work on your soul, reconnect yourself and who you are, and empower yourself. And it's got tools, techniques and strategies, all sorts of things. So come over and join me in my Facebook group, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.